just because you are growing in containers or raised bed doesn't mean you don't have weed pressure. So your weed pressure comes from the birds, from the air, from what's growing in your yard. And as an urban, suburban grower, you have higher weed pressure than someone who's out in an area that is built for horticulture or agriculture, simply because they're treating their property, and they're not, they just don't have like the dandelion pressure you have. But if you see silage tarps, you hear everybody talk about silage tarps. Silage tarp is a heavy mill plastic that you lay down on top of an area that you have already, prepped, fertilized, or just tilled under some cover crop or just weeds in general, a new plot that you're starting. That same silage idea can be used in container gardening. So what you need to do is go to your local big box store, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, and get contractor grade trash bags. And what you're going to do is lay these contractor trash bags on top of your containers, or, as I did here, on top of your raised beds. Weighted it down with bricks. I don't intend to plant this raised bed for several months, so I don't want to allow the weeds to continue to grow until I'm ready to plant, where I have to spend a whole day pulling weeds and grating up the soil before I can plant. So what I've done is I put down some fertilizer, I pulled the weeds, put down some fertilizer, scratched it in, put my this bed is 4 by 8, and it took 2 trash bags. Now, when you buy the trash bags, they're not going to say 6 mil. Well, they'll tell you the mil, but it's not going to be as high or as low. It's not going to be the same as a silage tarp, but you're not opening the trash bag. You're leaving it in half, so you're going to double whatever the millimeter is on the coverage. Trust me, this works. Put down 2 contractor, not your regular garbage bags, although those would probably help, but 2 contractor bags, a couple bricks to weight it down until you're ready to plant. That should keep the weeds out. Hope this tip is helpful. Remembering to do a weigh-in is something I'm going to have to get used to. I've been watching a couple other shed warriors who have actually done a couple weigh-ins, and I always forget about eggs. So, it's just natural to me. So these eggs I have collected in the past 3 weeks. But I'm only going to count what my family's going to keep. So, these eggs are not going to be counted because those are going to friends and family. These eggs I am keeping, and these quail eggs are going to be pickled later this afternoon. Okay, empty bowl, scale reading 0, and I'm going to put the quail eggs in, and we'll see what the quail eggs weigh. And do this one-handed. I actually have 30 quail eggs in my incubator right now. Hoping to get a new breeder set out of it, and some additional egg layers and more meat for the freezer. But alright, that's all my quail eggs, and that is 11.68 ounces of quail eggs. Alright, scales back to 0. And let's see what the eggs weigh. Now, I only keep about 3 dozen for my family. And then what I'm going to start doing is I'll be doing some egg glassing as the eggs get bigger. Right now they're still, for my hens, these are average to kind of small. They just started laying again after the winter. Oh, that one's out. Here, Tank, have an egg. That's one thing. When you have a husky around, your eggs never go to waste. But I was saying they just started laying. So these, on average, my hens will lay eggs that weigh 3 ounces each. So I will, I'm going to glass eggs this year because I didn't like being without fresh eggs. I refused. I did not buy eggs in the store. If I was out, I was out. But yeah, during the winter, I would get 1 or 2 a day. And I have 12 hens. I had 15, but things happen. All right, so there we go. That's all of my eggs that I'm keeping. And 62.58 ounces. And next thing is I'm going to get some collards. I think I still have a few collards out there, and I'm going to cook up some collards, and I'm doing beef ribs in the crock pot. So these eggs did not get counted. This is all I'm counting for today. Thanks, guys. All right, making some crock pot beef ribs. And I took my beef ribs, divided the bones, seasoned them, salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, and I am going to brown them on each side until they're kind of caramelized and yummy. And then I'm going to do these are 2 very small onions, just going to rough chop them, 4 cloves of garlic, and then they're going to go into the crock pot. And in here I've got a consomme, yeah, that's it. And then put them on in high for 4 hours, and I'll show you what they look like when we're done. Okay, so I'm going to weigh in my collards that I'm cooking for dinner tonight. I just went and cut them out of the garden. Haven't washed them yet. I don't know my scale here. My collards are pretty much done. Most of them went to seed. I've got 3 or 4 plants left. Alright, zero out the bowl. Wow, the screen is hard to get it to read. How do you guys do this? It says 20.42, but I can't get it to show on the camera. It's showing everything. .42. So 20 ounces, 20 ounces for collard greens. And that's it for now.